everybody. Welcome to our first episode of unTUXed. And my co-host.
And this is Joe.
It's so good to have all of you. Joe, how are you doing during our shelter in place?
I am making the most of it. I'm so happy that I get to work from home. So I'm here in Vegas with Greg, and I'm working and hanging out with the pups.
Do you always? But you don't always work from home, do you?
No. I go into the office. So it's been really interesting. And I'm actually busier now than I was when I was going in the office.
Okay, so let me tell you the truth. My school's making me do lessons.
Yeah.
It is faster just to go and teach live in person. I thought, oh yeah, we'll do them from home. Most mornings, it's like noon, and those classes would have been done by 10 a.m. if I had just taught them, and I'm still struggling to like post and edit and but I couldn't be in my onesie at school, so.
Right? Exactly. Yeah,
so,
for me.
unTUXed, kind of our purpose is we have a lot of people connected with the chorus, and I don't even know all of them. Do you?
No, I do not. I'm excited to hear about our first guest and what he is all about. So.
Well, he's very, no one has ever seen him or heard of him. Oh, wait. He's done a lot of help with us last couple of weeks in showing our concerts. So we want to welcome to our premiere episode, Lee Leisure. Hit the button.
Woo-hoo!
Welcome, Lee. Uh-oh.
Welcome, Leisure. Yay!
Good morning. How you doing, boys?
I should have brought my cocktail.
What are you? Is that a unicorn? Or you're just excited to see me? Lee, first of all, I want to say a huge thank you. So many of us have enjoyed watching the concerts that you've helped us. Where did you come up with that idea to do that?
Actually, the original concept was my buddy. He came up with the idea. He wanted to do something that would help bring us all together. So I got to say thank you, Ronald. That was a brilliant idea. Mr. Ronald Lagan. Mwah.
So I have one question, then Joe has some too. First of all, I don't even know this. Tell me, we don't have a long time on here, but like, where'd you come from? Where'd you grow up? I don't know much of your background.
Well, we unicorns come from under the rainbow.
Yeah.
I was born in Phoenix. My family, they're a bunch of Navy brats, so we moved a lot. We've lived in Chula Vista, all over Arizona, Reno, Boise, Idaho, San Luis Obispo County, and then finally, down here to San Diego. So we've been around a bit.
I heard you've been around. No, I haven't.
I will neither confirm nor deny.
So
those bathrooms could talk.
It's a family show, not. So how about this? Give us 3 adjectives that best sum up Lee Leisure.
Ooh. Oh. Well, Ronald.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would have to say the big one is I am an extroverted introvert.
Oh, really?
Yes. I'm usually pretty shy and keep to myself a lot until I get to know you, and then you can't shut me up.
So I guess he must know you.
Yeah. So my chorus family, it's been a pleasure having so many friends and being able to blossom a bit.
Joe, your turn.
Yeah.
So when did you start singing?
I started singing when I was a wee little ass in grade school, actually. I started singing with the elementary school chorus, as we are wont to do. I stopped at about middle school, and when I went into college, I tried getting into musical theater, and I discovered I had severe stage fright, and that didn't.
Wow.
So I don't have that now.
Well, without going into any gory details, high school was not a very good experience for me. So by the time I got to college, I was a repressed little guy. I was a very tiny guy. I grew out of that, but and most of my stage fright was fear of being judged and ridiculed. So I kept it all inside. And as I grew, I learned that, you know what, why worry if people are going to laugh at you? I'll just make them laugh with me. So I've gotten past that stage of stage fright, really. And,
Wow.
and
It's funny you say that, because I've heard a lot of people when I've said, you know, join the chorus, a lot of people will tell me, oh, I have stage fright. And I guess I would say, well, you're standing with a lot of people, but still, I think for some people it is, it's just kind of intimidating for that curtain to open and there's 1,300 people staring at you, even though you're surrounded by people. But
well, obviously, yeah, absolutely. One of the big things that helped me with the very first concert that I did, which was Motown last year, was while we were setting up the stage the day before. I stood in the middle of the stage and looked out over the empty theater, and I just absorbed the emptiness, the big open space. And once I got used to that, you could put people in and it didn't bother me.
Wow.
So actually getting adjusted to being in front of this open space, it's like a reverse claustrophobia.
I totally remember you doing that, Lee.
Yeah. So you were tuning up the band and I was up on stage singing along. Nobody could hear me, but you know, I was getting used to performing on a stage in front of all the seats, without butts in the chairs. You know, it was a very therapeutic session.
Huh. So what's one of the first things you want to do when we don't have to shelter in place anymore?
Oh my God.
Or go or whatever.
Yeah, it's, well, besides getting a haircut.
Oh, keep it. I like it.
Blue is great. I don't know if this is after like an hour of management. I desperately need to give my buddy, because he's been a savior to me through all of this. I need to give him a big old hug, because he deserves it for checking up on me every day, and you know, words with friends on Facebook, you know, and prodding me to keep active and social. So yeah, that's my number one.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Joe?
So what have you learned about yourself during this whole lockdown that you didn't already know about yourself?
It goes back to that introvert thing. You'd think being introverted, needing some me time to recharge my batteries would mean that I like being isolated. I like staying at home. And no, oh hell no.
I'm kind of like you. I always thought I want to retire, and after like 1 week at home, I'm like, I don't want to retire.
Oh.
I would go out of my mind.
Yeah, it's been rough, you know. There's a difference between staying home because you wanna or you have a long weekend, and another one being told you have to stay home because you could die out there, and that's a difference. Yeah.
I like what one of my friends posted on social media. They said, I can't decide after shelter in place which one I want to go to first. Weight Watchers or AA. Because we're all home, we're like, what do we have to do here but eat and drink? I don't know. What about this question? Yeah. What is something most people wouldn't know about you unless they got to know you really well? Could be a surprising fact, or...
You know, I don't know. Do you guys have any ideas? What didn't you know about me?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, see?
Well, I think for me, one of mine is, I don't know that everyone knows I don't know. I used to not be patient, but I feel like I'm kind of patient. But I don't know if you know that until you get to know me. Maybe it's not patience. Maybe it's passive aggressive. I don't know.
So during this whole lockdown time, I've had some really bizarre dreams. I don't know about you guys, but what about you? Have you guys had, Lee, have you had any weird dreams that you remember?
The details I don't remember, but yeah, there have been some weird ones, particularly surrounding people doing things, or I had one that got twisted around. I was being let go at work. I haven't been furloughed. I still work, but I was getting let go, but they still wanted me to come into the office. And then it was really weird. And the only thing I can think of to tie that in is when they told us that we had to start working from home and get out. So, but yeah, there's been a couple weird bizarre.
So I go to sleep with my phone right under my ear and I listen to podcasts. I think maybe it was the years growing up in church that as soon as someone starts talking, I just go to sleep. I can't listen to music because music I analyze. I'm like, oh, that bass line or oh that. But I listen to like true crime broadcasts, which means I'm constantly having nightmares of like being in haunted houses and murders chasing me and Jan's always like, well, stop listening to freaking crime podcasts. I'm like, well, the dreams are kind of fun as long as I get to wake up and be like, oh, it's just a dream. So how about this? Before we sign off on unTUXed, what is one piece of advice you would give a good friend that you have learned in life? It doesn't have to be the greatest, just something you thought, this is a good lesson I wish everybody knew.
I would have to say, just be yourself. I mean, that's the most generic answer you could possibly get, but it's true.
It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not easy. A lot of people go through life either hiding who they are, trying to be something else, or, you know, be something that they think is somebody else's ideal, be it, you know, a twink at the bar needs to look all trim and stuff and really wants to eat some food. Or, you know, somebody that wants to, you know, just pass in life is something that they're not. Just be yourself, you know.
You know, and I'm going to commend you on that.
Because they've been there and
I commend you on that, and I believe that because I think one of the things I have so appreciated and loved about you is I think just your honesty to be who you are. I mean, whether it's the businessman dressed all up in a tuxedo or whether it's a unicorn and emerald hair, you know, whatever you want to do. And I love that because I do think too many of us, that's a whole nother show, spent too much of our lives hiding who we were. But I'm actually really Dolly Parton. But I got the boobs. I just don't have the wigs yet. Listen, I love both. Huh?
One last question.
Yeah.
So I'm going to James Lipton this. I don't know if you guys know James Lipton from Inside the Actors Studio. If heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Hi. Come on in. Welcome home.
She would say, and you didn't boom it up. I love you guys. I miss you. I'm sorry we're not singing together every week, but it'll happen soon enough. Yeah. Thanks for all you do, Lee. We really do appreciate you.
Thank you, Lee.
Absolutely. Thank you, guys.
And, Joe, good seeing you there. Stay cool in Las Vegas.
Thank you.
I need to get out of this because San Diego's heating up and
I know. Whose idea was this?
My white chest hair is like starting to. Love you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.